All right, buckle up because we're diving deep into something everyone's curious about: love.
Love.
And specifically, what does it really mean when we talk about love in a romantic relationship? Not just the fluffy stuff.
Right. The real deal.
Exactly. And to help us unpack all of this, we're turning to an episode from the Love Unfiltered podcast.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're hosted by Jake and Sophia,
Hmm?
and they offer some seriously relatable takes on modern love.
I like them. They don't sugarcoat anything.
No, they don't. What I appreciate is that they go beyond those initial butterflies and rainbows.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase,
And really get into how love evolves and changes over time.
which is so important because, like Sophia, one of the hosts, points out, love might start with that initial attraction.
Yeah. The spark.
But it grows into something deeper. It becomes about trust and commitment and really choosing to be there, especially when things get tough.
That makes me think about the whole idea of the honeymoon phase.
Right.
Is it almost like that initial excitement is just the first chapter in a much, much longer story?
Exactly. That's a
Right.
great way to put it. Think of it this way. The honeymoon phase is like the initial spark, but true love, that's the slow, steady burn that keeps you warm even on the coldest nights.
Ooh, I love that analogy. But Jake, the other host, brings up a really interesting distinction. He talks about the difference between love and infatuation.
Ah, yes.
So how can you even tell if it's real love in the first place?
Well, infatuation, that's that intense, almost obsessive feeling you get at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's all hormones and idealization, and often we're just projecting our own desires onto the other person.
Yeah, we're not seeing them clearly.
Exactly. True love, though, that's grounded in reality. It's about understanding your partner, flaws and all. Well, speaking of seeing things clearly, Jake actually shares a personal story about mistaking attachment for love and staying in a relationship more out of comfort than genuine happiness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced something similar?
Definitely. I think it's easy to get those two confused, especially if you've been with someone for a while.
Absolutely. And to make things even more complicated, Sophia points out how fear can play a role too.
Fear.
Yeah, like the fear of being alone or starting over or hurting someone's feelings.
Right.
It can keep us stuck in relationships that no longer serve us.
So we're choosing the familiar discomfort over the unknown.
Exactly. Even if the unknown might actually be better for us in the long run. It's like Sophia says, sometimes loving ourselves means having the courage to choose what's best for our well-being.
That's a great point. And it reminds me of another big topic they cover: love languages.
Yes.
That idea that we all have different ways of expressing and receiving love.
Absolutely. They delve into the 5 love languages, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, and receiving gifts.
Right.
Understanding these different styles is super important for good communication and connection.
Totally. And to make it even more clear, they each share their own love languages.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Jake is all about acts of service,
Makes sense.
showing his love through helpful actions, while Sophia is all about quality time.
It's so interesting how even in a loving relationship, people can have these different preferences for how they experience love.
It really makes you think about how important it is to understand your partner's love language
Oh, absolutely.
and not just assume they experience love the same way you do.
Yeah, for sure. And that actually leads perfectly into another big topic that Jake and Sophia bring up: unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, which I think is often misunderstood.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what does it really mean to love someone unconditionally?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, Jake and Sophia are pretty clear that it doesn't mean accepting any kind of toxic behavior
Right.
or sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's about loving your partner for who they truly are, flaws and
Expecting the whole package.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's also about setting healthy boundaries.
Mhm. So it's not about saying yes to everything, but about respecting yourself within the relationship.
Right. It's about recognizing that even in a loving relationship, both people deserve to be treated with kindness and respect.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then they bring up this idea of love as a choice.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It really stuck with me.
What do they mean by choosing love?
Well, they were saying that love isn't just this passive feeling that washes over you. It's something you actively decide on every single day.
So even when you're frustrated with your partner or going through a tough time, love is still a choice.
Exactly. It's about showing up for each other and putting in the effort, even when it's hard.
That's a powerful way to think about it.
Yeah, it definitely challenges those fairy tale ideas of love we often see.
Where it just magically works itself out.
Exactly. Jake and Sophia are all about keeping it real.
Yeah.
They remind us that love takes work, it takes intention, and a willingness to face those challenges together.
It's almost like they're saying that love isn't something that happens to you, but something you actively create.
That's a great way to put it.
So after hearing all of this, what stands out to you as the biggest takeaway from this conversation?
That's a good question.
For me, I think what really stuck with me was how Jake and Sophia talked about love going beyond just that initial infatuation.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new relationship.
Oh, totally.
But when they talked about love growing into trust and commitment,
Right.
it made me realize that's where the real magic is.
Yeah, and I think connecting that to Sophia's idea of love being a choice, it's not just the feeling, but the daily commitment to actually nurturing the relationship.
Yeah.
That's what separates a fling from something real, something lasting.
It really makes you think about how we each define love in our own lives.
It does.
I mean, has this conversation changed your perspective on love at all?
It actually has.
Really?
I think I used to focus more on the grand gestures, like the passionate declarations of love.
Yeah.
But Jake and Sophia really highlighted those everyday acts of love. The small choices, the consistent effort, just showing up for each other even when it's hard.
That's so true.
And it reminded me of their point about healthy boundaries.
Yes. Even within unconditional love.
Exactly. It's about honoring your own needs and well-being while still loving your partner.
Not losing yourself in the relationship.
Right. It's about finding that balance.
Between acceptance and self-respect.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of what choosing love really means.
I like that.
It's about creating a relationship where both people can thrive.
So we're not just talking about love surviving, but actually flourishing.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this conversation about love?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing to remember is that love is complex.
Definitely.
And it's always evolving. It's not some fixed destination.
It's a journey with ups and downs.
Yes. A journey of discovery and growth and connection.
And for everyone listening, whether you're navigating love right now or just thinking about your own experiences, just remember, defining what love means to you, that's a deeply personal journey.
It really is.
So we want to hear from you. What resonated with you most from Jake and Sophia's insights?
Yeah. Did anything challenge your ideas about love?
And what does choosing love look like in your own life?
We always love hearing your thoughts and encourage you to keep exploring these ideas.
Have those conversations about love with the people you care about.
Because the more we understand love,
the better we can create those really fulfilling, lasting relationships.
Absolutely. That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.